So here we are at exercise 5. Now what we've done so far is been working entirely within Mocha Pro to create our tracks. So what we're going to be doing in this exercise is showing you how to use that data in various applications. And we're going to be picking on 3 of the applications that we can export to. We're going to be looking at Nuke, Final Cut Pro and After Effects. I'm going to just take our surfboard clip that we've been working with here, and I'm going to export out the tracking data. And we'll take a little look. We've seen out this list before here. So we're going to start with tracking data for Nuke. So we're going to take that out as an ASCII file. So Nuke ASCII. This is going to take out these 4 corner points here as individual bits of tracking data. So if I hit save here and come out, and I'll give this a title, board track Nuke transform, and I pop into Nuke, and I've currently got my script working. So I've got my surfboard clip and my parking sign clip. So what I want to do is I want to do a simple match move where I bring in my my sign clip over here on top of the surfboard clip. Obviously this is nothing we would probably do in a real life situation, but there we go. So I'm going to hit T to transform, scale that down a little bit, and just select these 2 here, M for merge, and merge those over the top. Okay, so how do I now match move this over on top of my surfboard clip? Okay, so underneath the transform 1 here, I'm going to come in, add a transform tracker. There we go, and that's tracker number 1. Come over here, and let's go into my track controls over here. And I've got my 4 trackers that I can load stuff into. So I'm just going to hit over here, come to File, Import ASCII. It will ask me which tracking data I want. I want the Nuke transform that I've just exported out. Hit Open, hit OK, and that's brought in our tracking data from our first point there. Now, what we can do is if we come up to our transform over here, we can hit Transform, Match Move, and that's now going to match move those 2 in perfect sync. Now this might work if we actually wanted just to match just the 1 point, but another thing we can do, if we enable all the other 3 trackers and come in and do the same sort of thing, so File, Import ASCII, Tracker 2 on that one, File, Import ASCII, Tracker 3, File, Import ASCII, Tracker 4. OK on that. Now if I come in and add these 4 of these other 3 into the transform mix here, when I come to my match move, it's going to be as a nice average of these 4 tracks. So we can also come in and use these for rotation and scale as well. And that's now going to set those all in nicely. Well, it's going to set those all in. Obviously, it would be nicely if that's what we were after. Beautiful. So that is using the transform data in Nuke to do a match move. Let's have a look at how we do the corner pin stuff. So I'm just going to pop back into Mocha Pro. Now, if I come in here and go back to export tracking data and come to Nuke corner pin, this is going to save it out as a .nk file, so a Nuke script. So I can save this directly to the drive, or another thing I can do is directly just copy it to the clipboard and pop back into Nuke. And let's have a look at my second viewer. So I've got the same setup over here on the second viewer, and I'm just going to select my parking sign there. So remember, I've got the corner pin data put inside the clipboard. And now if I paste that in, I've now got my corner pin pasted in there. And you can see that's all working out quite nicely. So again, I'm just going to select these two here, hit M to merge them over, and then play that back. And you can see that's taken on the corner pin data straight away, just with a paste. Cool. Let's look at how we do the same sort of thing over in Final Cut. So the same data back in Mocha Pro. Come over here, go to Final Cut, Basic Motion. It's going to save it out as an XML file, so I'm going to hit Save. And this is going to be FCP Transform. And let's just pop into Final Cut. And I'm going to go Import XML file. And I'm just going to navigate to where I saved it. So I saved it in here. And here's my XML file here. Hit Choose. It'll ask me which project I want to put it into. Well, I've only got one project open at the moment, so it's going to go into FCP Import, Sequence Settings, Stickers Auto, Reconnect to Media, yes, everything else is fine. And this is giving us a fantastically long name, which I'm going to come in and rename. And you can see it's even brought it in with my original clip. Okay, well, let's start up a new project. So this is my original here. Superimpose it over the top. So what if I didn't want the data to come in on that particular clip? What if I wanted it to use a slightly different clip or a completely different clip? Well, let's see how we would do that. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to render up let's just render up a gradient, and I'm going to superimpose that over the top. Cool. So what I'm going to do in the bin, I can just copy, Apple C, then in the timeline here, so in here I'm going to go to Paste Attributes, and it's going to ask me which attributes I want to paste in. Do I want to paste in the content? Well, that would paste in the original video clip, so no, I don't want to do that. Do want to paste in the basic motion. Hit OK. And there we go, we've got our little match move. Now this isn't, let's come into our motion here. It's not fantastic because what's going on is obviously the way that the Final Cut Pro motion works and has to work is that it sets a keyframe at every single frame, and you can't come in and delete individual keyframes. All you can do is sort of slowly reset one keyframe at a time. So if you only wanted the transform data and not the scale and rotation data, so the transform data is held in the center here. So yeah, if you only wanted that and not the scale and rotation data, it looks like you'd have to go through quite a slow, laborious process just to get rid of all of those keyframes. But I'm going to show you a better way of doing that. Let's get rid of that XML file there. And I'm going to find the original XML file on our disk drive. So here's our original XML file here. I'm just opening it up with a text editor. So here we've got a huge amount of data going in, all in the XML file itself. And what we're looking for is we're looking for certain parameters that we want to get rid of. So we can see a new parameter starting here, and the parameter ID is scale. So if you're looking for it, best way to do it is Apple F, find, and then type in scale. Then we're going to delete all of this stuff that goes down there, one line for every single keyframe until we hit the next parameter. So this slash parameter at the end here, this is the end of the bit that we want to delete. So with all of that selected, we can hit delete. And now we've taken away the scale keyframes. We can do the same thing with a rotation as well here. So it's just underneath the scale, but if you can't find it, just type in rotation, and there it is. Remember, take in the parameter up here. So make sure you take that line in and all the way down until you find /parameter. There we go, I missed /parameter, there we go. So take out /parameter. Now we can save this file one more time. So Apple S to save, or File Save. Now let's see what happens when we import that into Final Cut. So same as before, import XML. And there it is, we'll keep everything as default. Rename that. Right click, copy. And let's get rid of our gradient and create a text file. Yep, sample text, that's fine by me. Come in, superimpose. And we're going to paste attributes again on this. Basic motion. Come in here and you can see that we still have one for every single frame. Let's just zoom in a little bit. One for every single frame in the center, but not for the rotation and the scale. Cool. One thing just to be aware of, let's do that, because we've been working on clips that are exactly the same length as the clip that's underneath it. So for example, because we use superimpose here to put that over the top, we made sure that our sample text clip and our gradient was exactly the same length as a surfboard. Now if I put the text on so it's the default 10 seconds that we've got over here, and I try and do the same thing, so paste attributes, basic motion, and hit OK just the way it is there, this isn't going to look right. Now the reason for that, let's undo that. The reason for that is, if I come to paste attributes one more time, turn on basic motion, is that I didn't turn off scale attribute times. Now what scale attribute times does is it stretches out those keyframes so that it fills in the entire length of your clip. So if your keyframes are, working on a clip that's only 3 seconds long, and your new clip is 10 seconds long, it means that it's still going to do the same motion, it's just going to do it 3 times slower. So make sure that that scale attribute times is turned off. We hit OK there, and now we have our match move back in again. Cool, let's take a quick look at the corner pin. The corner pin's pretty much the same. So back in Mocha Pro, select tracking data, and we're looking for Final Cut Pro Distort. Save that. Distort. Import XML. Copy. Let's do this with a gradient this time. There we go. Bring our trusty gradient back in. Remove all the attributes that were already on it. There we go. And then let's paste those attributes back in. And this time we're going to paste distort, turn off scale attribute times, hit OK. And there's our corner pin. Working perfectly. Cool. No problems with that. Finally, After Effects. Export tracking data. Going to look at the transform data first. So come into After Effects transform data, copy that to the clipboard, find our way into After Effects. And let's do the same thing. I'm going to create a bit of text. Match move, there we go, that's not quite right. Let's do match move. All one word. Nice and big, there we go. So remember, my data is currently sat in the clipboard, so I can just Apple V or Control V in there and bring that in. Now that looks like it's worked, but where'd our text go? Now, I'm going to hit U, and that's going to bring up all of the keyframes that I've got going on. So we've got a match move coming on, and it's brought in anchor point, position, scale, and rotation. So this is actually more data than we actually need. So if we're doing a match move, we're going to select all of our anchor point keyframes, turn them off, and hit reset. And now we have the rest of our stuff going on as we need it. And if you don't want scale and rotation, do the same thing. So turn those off, right click, hit reset. We're now working only with the position keyframes there. Cool. And finally, the corner pin stuff. Export tracking data. We'll do After Effects corner pin that supports motion blur. Copy that to clipboard. Again, we can save all of this. So if you're doing motion tracking work remotely, and you just need to quickly email that or upload that to a network, that's probably the easiest way to do it, is just to save off the simple text file. Back into After Effects. Let's come in. Let's turn my match move off and find a suitable clip. Find a suitable clip for doing the corner pin stuff on. So I've just created a solid Apple Y, Control Y, and then paste that in. Apple V, Control V. And there we go. My corner pins popped in immediately. Now let's look at the keyframes on this. So as I said in the introductory exercise, when we bring in After Effects data like this, we get both the corner pin data and the transform data coming down here. Now this is really, really important, because if I turn on motion blur here and just render that out, that's going to come in and use After Effects motion blur, like After Effects native motion blur, so we don't have to do any sort of messing about with sort of workarounds. It's going to just bring in that motion blur data straight away. Or actually generate that motion blur straight away. Cool. And we can fiddle with the composition settings just to match all that in perfectly. So this is going to be corner pin motion blur. Let's do the same thing, but try a different corner pin. So in the transform data, we're going to take the After Effects corner pin here, which is corner pin only. Copy that to the clipboard. Another solid this time. Let's make it green. Lovely. And when you're pasting in data into After Effects, make sure that you're on the first frame, or at least on the frame where you want the first keyframe to be, because that's where it's going to be pasted. So now if we look at that one here, we can see it's only brought in the corner pin data. So if I turn on motion blur onto this one, you can see that actually there's no motion blur being generated, because the native corner pin in After Effects doesn't generate motion blur. So that's the big difference. Now, as I said before, the final corner pin data here is After Effects CS3 corner pin. So this is exactly the same as the After Effects corner pin here, except for After Effects CS3 and below. So it just works out the different pixel aspect ratios for you. This won't have any impact on the footage that I'm working on here, because of course that's square pixels, so it doesn't have those same issues. That's it with exporting tracking data for now. So in later exercises, when we start looking at stabilization, we will be revisiting the export and the import of tracking data into other programs, including Apple Motion. But that's it for this exercise for now.